Hey everybody, Brian Von Vier here, back at it again to talk about how somebody killed 6 billion demons. Settle down because this is going to be a long one in the quote of those who wrote this. This occurred in the currently ongoing time travel D&D 5th edition campaign that I DM, set in a homebrew setting. Time travel is a tough subject to handle well in TTRPGs, from prior experience attempting similar time travel segments. So, what I did was run it by Chrono Trigger rules. That's my favorite game ever. You can only time travel to set wormholes that travel forward in time at the same rate as you do. That means you can't meaningfully reverse your own decisions, but you can explore the distant past or the far future. As for the party I ran for, it eventually settled down into a cast from every major time period the party visited. A half-elf ranger who was a sniper in the setting's equivalent of World War I. A Triton artificer wearing an antique diving suit filled with water. A gun-slinging eldritch knight who was a former human that had her brain placed inside a war-forged body in the post-apocalyptic future, and a Githyanki cleric from the distant past. At the time the story was taking place, the party had been building up to dealing with one of the campaign's big bad evil guys, a lich named Devin who was aware of time travel, but unable to perform it himself. He knew enough time manipulation magic so that if the party tried to paradox him out of existence, he would be able to restore himself and the timeline. So the party had a quest to kill him in every major time period in reverse order, starting in the future, ending in the distant past to ensure he would die for good. After much adventuring in the post-apocalyptic future, which involved everything from convincing a city whose entire economy was based on gambling that money was meaningless, to using a 100-foot giant mech to defeat someone in rock, paper, scissors, to jousting a Githyanki dragon rider with their spaceship in defense of their home base. The party decided to advance upon Devin the Lich's stronghold and take him out within this time period. Devin the Lich had lived throughout the setting's history, and he has suffered defeats before, but he is brutally intelligent, and has all the time in the world to acquire currency and social capital to achieve his goals. They knew that in this time period, after the party had wounded him in the past to the point that he wouldn't be able to cast spells, he would need to rely on such ends to stand a chance against the party. Devin had acquired 4 magical blades and grafted 4 prosthetic arms to wield them, and learned the arts of battle, alongside writing numerous scrolls. As the party expertly breached his lair and stole his soul vessel, the Tarask leather throw pillow that made up the seat of his throne, to destroy later, he drew them into a chamber where he prepared to battle the party. The party advanced through his lair, lightly drained by the efforts of breaching the stronghold in the first place, before coming upon a long and quite tall room, whereupon massive industrial doors at the end of the hall showed the night sky as the party advanced upon the man they had come to slay. Devin started his monologue, describing how the party had wounded him, and the vacation he anticipates once the party is finally dead for good. The party immediately stops listening to him, and the ranger notices a panel on the wall with his passive perception, and a note next to the panel's big red lever that read, "Warning, do not pull." Obviously, the party cleric, who had grabbed Mage Hand with the telekinetic feat, decides to remotely pull it. "You fools!" Devin cries out, suddenly disappearing from sight after discreetly using a scroll. "That's the oldest trick in the book. Enjoy what's coming, knowing it's entirely your fault." The floor then splits open, dumping the party onto a long, modern rocket, which soon takes off through the open window, with the party still attached to it. As it took off and entered the lower atmosphere, the party discovered that they were atop an armed nuclear missile heading directly for their home base. However, the party very quickly learned that they weren't alone, as Devin the Lich struck during the party's moment of panic, reappearing from invisibility atop the missile after missing an attack at Eldritch Knight. Roll initiative. And here's the moment everything started going beyond even my wildest expectations. The party artificer was up first, and she used the one item that instantly kills any suspense or tension surrounding an enemy. A bead of force. DC 15 dex save. On a failure, you take a tiny amount of force damage, but far more importantly, you are trapped inside a 5-pound magical hamster ball of force for 1 minute. No repeat saves, teleportation can't pass through it, and as it's a magic item with no specific cause for it, even the mighty disintegrate does nothing against the bead. I've used it against a Nightwalker my GM showed off as an environmental terror. I've seen the mighty bead used to trap a ghost of a powerful paladin seeking eternal vengeance, and I even saw the mighty Strad get put in the hamster ball. At the time, I thought I was prepared. Devin has plus 12 to dex saves. He's probably got this. Natural 2. 1 less than what was needed to save. Somehow a natural 1 would be less humiliating for him, as this was not the fate, but Devin's own hubris striking him down. Devin goes into the hamster ball. That party goes absolutely ballistic. Of course, this wasn't the end of their problems. As initiative had started, I described how the missile opened a portal ahead of it and flew into it. I then rolled on a table I had made prior, before describing as the missile entered the volatile plane of limbo. As a DM, I planned on using this for an interesting lair actions, and to provide fun sights as the party fights the big bad evil guy atop a live nuclear warhead. Of course, now that they had their lich rival completely trapped, caught from falling off by the Eldritch Knight, they could turn their full attention to the gravity of their situation. The ranger, who had trained during downtime to become a skilled pilot of the party's spaceship, asked to check the flight computer. The party learned that it was powered by a demonic flesh pustule that intersects with the rest of the missile through magic, rapidly switching between planes to evade anti-air defenses. The party argues about how to get out of this, and they decide on a plan. They would rig the missile to detonate in a plane they don't particularly care about. After strapping Devin's soul vessel to the side of it with duct tape, Devin for his part was trying and failing to escape from the bubble. Nothing leaves the hamster ball before their time. They would then use the demonic computer to open a portal to their home plane just behind and below the missile, and use the artificer's feather fall to jump within the portal before the nuke exploded. It sounded like a plan, and the ranger made a check to try and convince the demonic computer to send this missile somewhere else and open a plane home. I don't remember the exact result, but it was just barely a failure, and the demonic computer decided to send their party home, more specifically to its home, the home of all demons, the Abyss. The party watched on as the nuke was a round or two out from detonating, and as they flew through the black skies of the Abyss, they saw a massive mile-high demon lord grazing on a rival demon lord's army, as gladiatorial arenas were filled with the cries of blood sport. Still determined, the fighter intimidated the computer into being more cooperative as the artificer continued to ready Featherfall. However, it was the cleric who saw the wandering demon lord's hand was suddenly reaching for the missile. Reacting quickly, the cleric decided to yeet Devin in his bubble prison at the demon lord, and I had the cleric roll an athletics check. Natural 20. The cleric broke a demon lord's finger by yeeting the big bad evil guy as a thrown weapon, and it bought the party just enough time for the ranger to try again, spend inspiration, and roll just well enough to succeed, and escape right as the nuclear blast went off. Now here's where the title of this session comes in, as I homebrew my plane slightly, and one thing I added to the Abyss is that it has the unreliable distances of the Fey Wild. Everywhere is adjacent to everywhere else if you just know how to travel. Of course, now everywhere in the Abyss is now adjacent to the ground zero of a nuclear explosion, which primarily dealt radiant damage to represent the light and radiation of the blast. That's not even mentioning that ground zero is also turned into an anti-magic zone, as the fabric of magic itself is damaged by the warhead. So, as the party fell back to the ground with Featherfall, I described as a wave of nuclear radiance and atomic fire singed away the blood fields, as every single demon was disassembled atom by atom, as every single demon lord evaporated and was wholly destroyed, and how every scholar who attempted to study it went blind from the sheer destructiveness of what they had unleashed, and as how the magic of the plane itself is damaged through atomic wrath. They had killed an entire plane, a pantheon of evil gods, the greatest threat to existence as a whole in the form of the demon host, and the big bad evil guy all in one go. At the end of the session, the party leveled up. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA here, back at it again to make sure that you guys and gals out there are staying hydrated and healthy. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to get notified when we post, or perhaps when we go live on this channel too. Speaking of this channel, we do have a main channel, Mr. Ripper. It has a ton of different stories on there, mostly thread-type stories, whereas over here, we have a lot of the spooky, scary, happy-go-lucky, lovey-dovey stories that you see, such as the 6 billion demon kill shot. That being said, go check us out, and if you have a story to submit to us, make sure to do so on r/Mr. Ripper. And using your help action, come say hi to Daddy Vaughn over on Twitch and YouTube at Brian Von VA. All the love to everybody out there, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.